Hey climbers, and welcome back to the Treehouse. My name's Ree, and this is the tarot tree. And today, as you can see, we have a magic lamp and a genie to hopefully grant some wishes for us. So a little bit of a giveaway as to what this video is going to be about, maybe. In today's video, I thought we'll be jumping on a little tag that went around a while back, but I kind of only just came across. That was made by the lovely The May Queen, a great tarot channel over here on YouTube. Definitely check her videos out. She created this tag, which was just such a wonderful topic, because I'm sure it's something that we've all discussed with our tarot loving friends, and that is the decks I wish existed. Okay, so today we're going to be wishing on a star. For someone to make these tarot and oracle cards, and I wish on all the rainbows that I see, that someone makes these decks for you and for me, and I wish I don't know the lyrics. I'm gonna stop that now because I went way too far. I should have stopped that at the first two lines, but hey ho, enjoy some off-key singing there. But yes, I say for you and for me, these are my wishes, but I very much believe that some other people probably have the same wishes, so I got you guys, don't worry about that. So yeah, let's have a peek. Is our genie asleep? Oh, well, we're going to be rubbing on our magic lamp nevertheless, making these wishes and hope someone grants them for us along the way. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. So, first up, our first wish has to go to the fandom category, okay? We all knew who's coming here. What is tarot without a couple of fandom decks, right? And why are they so far and few between? Because I feel there's so many fan crossovers, you know, of tarot lovers and fandoms, that it just boggles the mind to think that they haven't jumped on board with this. Now, as you can see, I've got a lot of characters here, you know, a lot of interests, a lot of fandoms, some of the film kind of nature, some anime, things of that nature. So I'm going to get into first, because I realised I actually had no figures to kind of highlight this, which is really strange for me, because as you can tell, I do kind of collect kind of figures. Okay, that sounded weird, but hey ho. But first and foremost, guys, if I wanted one fandom deck to be created, it would have to be, and this is the only thing I have, and I haven't made it yet because I realised I needed tools, but as you can see here, we've got our good friend Totoro, a Studio Ghibli tarot deck. I'm just saying it how I usually say it, how I've been saying it for life. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Studio Ghibli properly, but we're going to just refer to it as Studio Ghibli for now. So yeah, a Studio Ghibli tarot deck. Why this doesn't exist, I do not know. Please let me know if one has ever existed before, or if there is one that exists that you know of, because I have yet to find it. I found playing cards and that's about it. So yeah, Miyazaki is a genius. It's a fantastic documentary about him, actually, that if you're really into Studio Ghibli, or really just any sort of filmmaking behind the scenes kind of process, wanting to know about a master's life, check it out. It's actually quite sad. It's an interesting sort of parable about a father and son as well. So yeah, that's a tangent, but he's a wonderful storyteller. He's created so many classics within that production kind of company. Is that what we would call it? Whatever. If you're not familiar with Studio Ghibli, it's sort of Japanese biggest sort of animation kind of house in terms of putting out films, a bit like their Disney. I'll just say that their films are a bit more profound and a bit more darker than Disney films overall. And there's so many to choose from here. We have their sort of flagship character Totoro. Really, what would I want from this deck? I would love one that kind of encompasses all of their you know, well-known stories, all of their films, to be honest, because I think there's so many like rich characters and sort of story arcs to draw upon that would really fit well into the tarot. Genuinely, like, God, you'd be spoilt for choice, wouldn't you? If not, really and truthfully, let's just make me a Princess Mononoke one. That is my favorite. That is my favorite Studio Ghibli film of all time. Let me know what yours is. Yeah, if you're a fan, I'm really interested to know. A lot of people say the same one, and I find that interesting because it's not in my top 3. So yeah, see if you can guess what that one is. But yeah, Princess Mononoke is my favorite. If you really want to see, if you like animation and you want to see something that encompasses kind of, I guess, a Japanese sort of rich kind of culture to do with their forests and their own kind of fae and their yokai, like the sort of spirits that kind of inhabit the forest. It's a beautiful kind of tale about the sort of conflict between the industrial kind of age and the kind of ecological kind of aspects of the forest. So definitely give it a go. It's a great film, really, truthfully. A beautiful score by a wonderful composer called oh my god, what's his name? Yeah, I'm actually going to see him. Joe Hisashi, let me hope I haven't butchered that name, but a beautiful composer who's done a lot of their film scores. Yeah, I was actually meant to see it before the world went to crap, so it's been delayed for about 2 years, but hopefully I'll get to go see that in person for their 25th anniversary in a couple of months. So yeah, Studio Ghibli Tarot Deck, why does it not exist? Please, someone make it. I know it would do very, very well. I'm sure there's a lot of tarot fans that are also Studio Ghibli fans, so whoever sees this and can make that happen, please do. God, just look at the stories. Even here you have the Fool energy, the Magician energy, everything's here in these characters. And if you're not familiar with Studio Ghibli, I don't care your age or anything, okay? They're beautiful stories. Go and check them out. My top 3, Princess Mononoke, Envy the Castle in the Sky, Laputa the Castle in the Sky, and I think third for me would probably be Howl's Moving Castle, to be honest. So yeah, check them out. Very profound. So first up, Studio Ghibli Tarot Deck. Second up, where do we go with this fandom here? We've got lots of kind of ones. I won't go for too many, but the one I kind of really would like to see is an Avatar The Last Airbender with our little fool here, Aang. You know, who makes a better kind of fool than him, really and truthfully, in the Fool's Journey. His story is so amazing. Again, yes, it is a kid's show. I never watched it till adulthood though, so definitely give it a go. You know, you're never too old to kind of engross yourself in a good story, and it's a fantastic story about this young boy who's been frozen in ice for like hundreds of years or something. And he's meant to come and master all 4 elements. Again, what we have that kind of already speaking to the tarot, you know. We have air, fire, water, and earth. So there we go. We have the whole kind of pentacles, wands, swords, and water energy, cups energy already. You know, it's there for the making, please. Now, I know some of you are going to look at me and say, Ree, there are definitely some indie decks that have been made to do with Avatar The Last Airbender. And yes, I know. There is one that I was quite interested in. I think it's the Afro... Oh, I can't remember it off the top of my head. But it's a very expensive indie deck. That's actually out of stock now, so I don't even know if it's coming back into print. What I would like is for them to make a mass market, and a good one at that, you know. One that really picks the right characters. There's so many great characters to pick from here, and like I said, they're already split up into fire, you know, into those elements that fit the tarot so well. Here we have Aang, who really can master all 4 magician energy, hello, and Sokka here, you know, one of his companions, water tribe. So yeah, please, somebody make me an Avatar The Last Airbender one. It would be fantastic. It really wouldn't be hard to make. I've toyed with the idea of potentially making one myself by just kind of getting stock images or seeing if an artist friend would draw them for me. It'd be quite an undertaking, but yeah, I think ideally I would like to have it as art, like kind of original art of them, but keeping it in the same style. That would be really cool. So yeah, please make that. It would fit so well This got so many beautiful elements within that story, so many rich characters, so much character development. We need it, okay? We need that deck. Moving on to Samurai Jack 2, I got to give him a shout out because really and truthfully, he would make a great deck too. Why is there not a deck for Samurai Jack? Please, if you've not seen that again, literally I'm just fangirling over cartoons right now. You're probably thinking, Ree, are you a child? No, they're very profound. Believe me when I say these animations are very profound. The stories are very profound, particularly the last season of Samurai Jack where they sum it up. It's a bit darker than the ones that were on Cartoon Network originally for us who were young when they first came out. So his is a great story, you know. He's a samurai that gets sent forward into the future by a demon called Aku. When he realizes Samurai Jack's going to beat him, he just opens a portal, flings him into the future, and he needs to try and get back to the past, you know, and defeat Aku. And he gets stuck in the future, and it all gets a bit crazy for him. So I'm not really selling it too well, but it's a great parable. It's a great story, and again, would fit into the tarot very well, I believe. Also, while we're on this subject of fandoms, there's one more deck that I would like to be made. That's not a tarot deck actually, but more of an oracle / archetype deck is what I'm looking for, and I've toyed with the idea of making this myself. I don't know if any of you are familiar with sort of like top trump cards or those sort of card trading games where you'd have it for like a fandom or something, and you'd have the character and then sort of you know, how much damage they could do and all of that if you're playing the card game, etc. But more time people just collected them. What I would like is an archetypes deck based on very well-known characters we know, and I'd love it to be like across the board, like not just a Disney deck here. We have one of my favorite characters of all time, Rafiki, the wisdom, all that archetype energy, some quotes from him as like some affirmations would be great. Just a fun deck, you know, just a fun lift you up kind of deck. Incorporate into a few, you know, cheeky readings. It could even potentially be profound depending on what characters you picked and what you chose to kind of write up about them. But I just think, as I've kind of already kind of discussed on the channel before, I find decks that have characters I'm familiar with very helpful in terms of the tarot, in terms of getting familiar with the meanings of the cards, remembering them, you know, having that sort of resonate with me a bit deeper. So I feel like having an archetypes card kind of oracle deck based on characters I know would serve the same purpose, to be quite honest with you. You know, and just, you know, what energy do I want to embody today? Oh, one of my favorite characters from Avatar The Last Airbender is Uncle Iroh. Look him up, he's fantastic. Look up his quotes, he's fantastic. I wish I had him in my life. Genuinely. Again, Rafiki's another one. These sort of characters of wisdom and charm that kind of, you know, you remember them even from childhood. Gandalf in Lord of the Rings is another one. You know, even Treebeard here himself, you know, Merry, you know, the different personalities. You know, it could definitely work in an archetypes kind of base deck or energy kind of deck. You know, what energy should I embody today? What wisdom can I take away from today? Like an affirmations deck. I just think it'd be so cool. It'd be so nice to have these recognizable figures within a deck like that. You know, because sometimes archetype decks can be a little bit, like confronting, you know, when we're looking at ones kind of made under the umbrella of kind of Jungian kind of framework. Which is good because we need that for certain work, but I think this would be a bit more of a light-hearted one, you know, so that's what I would like. I may make it myself. I'll have a look at what making playing cards is saying in regards to that, how easy that would be. But yeah, let me know if any of you have made a deck for yourself. I remember when I was talking to the May Queen in her comments on her video, she did say within her video that she'd started making the Outlander one for herself, and that's really cool. So if anyone else has done that and has found it to be quite a good experience on make playing cards, let me know. And if anyone else thinks that an archetype deck based on these, you know, characters from pop culture, etc., and our sort of fandoms would be really cool, then let me know. You know, I think it'd be really cool, like crossover, could bring the anime. We've got My Hero Academia there, you know, some Disney stuff, Lion King. Oh, it'd be great. genuinely, I think it'd be so good and help my understanding of these archetypes too. So if anyone can bring that about, again, please and thank yous. Now, in terms of decks that have that scratch this itch, painfully few of them. I don't have very many fandom decks, which is a shame because you can see that I definitely sing their praises and they talk to me, right? I hear dead people. No, I'm in a bit of a silly mood, guys, bear with me. The decks I already have that scratch this itch, and I was very lucky to find because, you know, I've displayed it so many times on this channel and I don't care. I'm going to continue to do so till you all buy it and make that man a millionaire who created it. But it's my Lord of the Rings deck, you know. I was so grateful to find a deck like this. With this is, like I said, one of my favorite stories, franchises, whatever you want to call it, of all time. And like I said, so well done. I just want a deck as well done as this made for every other fandom that I have. So, well, God, maybe I need to contact this kind of artist and ask him to make an Avatar one, make a Samurai Jack one for me. All of that would be great. I've seen like a few other decks that have intrigued me. Like I said, there are a few indie ones to do with Avatar that look interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a Samurai Jack one. I haven't found my Studio Ghibli one yet, unfortunately. I've seen a Zelda one, for any of you that are into the old school gaming as well. That looked quite promising. So that was interesting. Watch this space, because I do love that gaming franchise. Obviously Disney's made some people seem like they're disappointed with a few of them, but I saw a lot of people quite like that Disney Villains one, so that was cool. But yeah, in terms of like other books and fandoms, I really want to get my hands on The Little Prince because I love that book and it seems like they've done that tarot very well. So yeah, my Lord of the Rings tarot definitely scratches that itch. And recently I also managed to find, believe it or not, bada bing bada boom, a Lord of the Rings oracle, would you believe? So yeah, I got this today. So bear with me. Literally, let's get the cards out. We've got a ring of power here as well. Hey, it's all going on here. So I can't speak on this system or how it works as an oracle just yet, but it looks promising. I must say, like, it's got some very like famous scenes and stuff from the books, the wolves and stuff, with thingy up the top there, all the different trees. I quite like the artwork of it. Oh, Gollum looks a bit weird there, doesn't he? Saruman looks different there. Oh, they do look different, the characters. Literally, this is my first time looking for it, guys. You're doing it with me. This is basically an unboxing. Mount Doom, Bjorn. So yeah, I guess I'm lucky in that sense. So if any of you are like Lord of the Rings fans, we're lucky. I have to say, I think we have both an oracle and I think there's a couple of tarot decks to do with the Lord of the Rings. I think there is a mass market one. It didn't really suit my kind of aesthetic, to be fair. I don't know how well it's done in terms of characters and scenes picked for the cards, but definitely check it out. It might be up your street. So yeah, we have this available to us, guys, so definitely check them out. I'll try and put links in the description for you. So yeah, that's what scratches that itch of fandom. Please, Genie, Magic Star, person that works in creating tarot decks somewhere, whatever you're called, please grant this wish for me, please. It would be so great to see more well thought out, well executed fandom decks on the market, and definitely at a sort of mass market price, because I genuinely believe that they would sell very, very well. I don't know why tarot decks are like not just a thing to do, like, I don't know, and not to just do it as in a gimmicky way, but you know, do them justice, use the stories, you know, they fit so well, why not? So yeah, fandoms is my first wish upon a star. Let's hope it comes to pass. So next up, for decks I wish existed, it would have to be a really good fairy tale or fable based tarot deck. Now, I know that these do exist. The one I feel like resonates with me the most, and the one that really caught my eye the most, is the Fairy Tale Tarot by Lisa Hunt, that is out of print now and is very expensive to get your hands on. So if you're listening, Lisa, or whoever has that, please publish it again, because that will definitely fill this void for me in some way, shape or form, because I love fairy tales. Genuinely, I feel like there's so much within them that is part of the tarot as well, that can be incorporated. Here we go, we've got a big ass book here. That's from my childhood, I still have. If anyone can see it. And I just feel like the stories, you know, could really marry themselves well. I think it would be good for doing inner child work, things of that nature. Even potentially shadow work, you know, if it was going to be a deck that was looking at the more, what's the word? The more grim, you know, aspects of Grimm's tales. Or those of Hans Christian Andersen, you know, because some of those fairy tales where they, you know, their origins are a lot more darker than what Disney would have us believe. So I would really, really love for them to make a new kind of deck to do with that. I know there are some out there. Tarot of the Divine rings a bell. That definitely does intrigue me. I definitely feel like I will probably purchase that at some point. The artwork doesn't speak to me, as beautiful as I think it is. For some reason it doesn't speak to me, but I've been told that it's more beautiful in person, so it definitely looks interesting, especially to get the book of fairy tales alongside it. Have the sort of tales would be really good as well. I think it might take some sort of learning in terms of using it as a tarot, but I'm willing to do that. I do love a good fairy tale, a good story. So that's one I don't have. And I guess another one that sort of comes is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot, is that what it's called? Or Enchanted Forest. That's definitely caught my eye as well, because that seems like it has those sort of themes. And I think someone was saying that, what's it called? The Star Spinner. It's a Star Spinner Tarot, I think, that definitely has that fairy tale element. Again, I just don't feel like they're my aesthetic, but please feel free to tell me if they do scratch that itch for you. So yeah, I would love a good classic fairy tale tarot to make its way either back in print or, you know, a whole new creation with those classics. That would be really cool. Also, bada bing bada boom, fables, Aesop's fables, one of the first, you know, some of the first stories I ever read by myself as a child, you know, albeit maybe more simplified, but they are simple stories. I feel like this could be probably better serve as an oracle deck, I think, with some lessons. But, you know, along with the stories, you know, a lot of them are quite short, and I do kind of like to incorporate this kind of book within my own readings for self at times as well, like just flick through, see what page comes, and I found that quite helpful. So if I had a deck that kind of incorporated these fables, you know, within the imagery. Oh gosh, look at that one, that's quite a dark one. I don't know if you can see that. Mercury and the Woodman. I feel like there's a lot of wisdom within these stories, and wisdom that can be made use of within my practice. And also, I just love a good fable and a good story, you know, don't we all? So why not incorporate these things that I feel can really, like, because really and truthfully, the Fool's Journey is kind of a fable in itself, isn't it? So why not incorporate these things within divination and tarot? Because they seem to marry quite well, in my opinion. I'm trying to show you more of the the images, but it seems like we're just getting the story up for you Leos out there. So yeah, I love this book, by the way. I remember when I was in a college in like central London, I kind of went off on like a little, I actually think we got kicked out of the class because we hadn't bought the book for the study material, which is quite funny. And I had to find ourselves in Waterstones, I think, or one of the other big shops in central London for books, and I saw this and I was like, I'm treating myself, because one of my first storybooks was the Aesop Fables. So yeah, it's a little anecdote there, because what is this channel without an anecdote? It's not complete. Also, I just want to chuck in, you know, I remember someone bought this back for me from Ireland, if anyone can see it. Yeah, it'd be really nice to have one that's about the Irish heritage. I'm sure there probably is. There is this Celtic one that's quite expensive to get your hands on. If anyone knows what I mean, it's the ones like, you know, like a red box with the kind of man's face on it. That interests me, but I'm just not willing to spend that kind of money on it at this point. But yeah, just to get me in touch with my roots. Like I said, I have a lot of Irish ancestry, and we have a lot of, I think storytelling is a big part of our culture in general, Irish culture. You know, whether it's the little people, the fae, you know, any sort of story to kind of provoke a laugh or fear or something emotional. We're good at it. So it'd be cool to have an oracle or a tarot alongside, you know, alongside that, specifically for that. So yeah, I'll be honest, I don't really have anything in my collection that scratches that itch as of late. Actually ever. And what am I talking about as of late? I haven't got a deck that kind of speaks to that fairy tale element, which makes me quite sad. So please drop your suggestions in the comments. I would very much like to know if there's some I have missed out on, or your thoughts and feelings about the Tarot Divine or the Forest of Enchantment, and if they sort of live up to that. Or some of you can rub it in if you have the Fairy Tale Tarot by Lisa Hunt, and let me know what you actually think of that, because maybe I'm just singing its praises too much and it's not the best, but we'll see. So yeah, that's my fairy tales and fables category. Anyone's out there that's, you know, up for making this for me, please do, otherwise I'll be forced to do it myself, and I don't know how great that will come out. So guys, the next category of decks I wish existed is a good tree oracle / tarot. Okay, now some of you might be looking like, really? No, they're out there, you know, these exist, and could probably list off quite a few. Please do, because there may be some I have not been made aware of and that I might like. But for me, I guess, maybe it's being a bit fussy, but there's not really one that's artwork has really resonated with me, if I'm being perfectly honest. And trees are, as you can tell by the name of my channel, you know, something I've quite an affinity with. It's something I would like to work with more within my kind of practice. And to have a deck, you know, to have that energy embodied in it, I would find it very useful. You know, I think it would be a good energy to kind of bring into my practice and into my kind of space at home. You know, I love being around trees. I'm the kind of weirdo that will hug them to feel better, sit at the bottom of one to kind of feel more connected and grounded. And there is something in it. I definitely think it can make us feel a lot happier and a lot calmer and a lot healthier. And so I want that oracle deck and I want that tarot deck. And there were a few that caught my eye. I think I'll insert them. Mags Black has a really beautiful kind of photographic kind of manipulated images that kind of show tree spirits in her oracle decks, which is beautiful. Honestly, I definitely want to get my hands on one of them, so that would be great to use. But and there is a tree tarot that's interesting, but like I said, the artwork doesn't always resonate with me. And I guess I've got something very, what's the word, specific in mind maybe. So there's an artist, and I will show you some of their work here in this here book, aptly named Around the World in 80 Trees. An illustrator called Lucille Clerc. She's a French illustrator based here very close to me in London. And I have a few of her artworks on my wall. I'll try and insert them here. She usually works a lot with this beautiful kind of contrast of paintings to do with architecture, sort of that city life and landscape intertwined with the sort of nature. And I find that really fascinating. But I just absolutely adore the way that she kind of draws. And I feel, let me try and get a good sample for you guys. Can you see? I feel the way that she draws plant life and trees in specific, there is that sort of, I don't know, this is going to catch up on camera, kind of old school in a way, encyclopedia feel, but also not quite. And if I could marry that, if she did create an oracle deck that kind of married that sort of modern city life intertwined with the trees, that would be interesting too. But I digress. If I could have a tree oracle or tarot illustrated by this woman, look at all the goats there, it's fascinating. I'd be very, very happy. I love her artwork, it resonates with me. And I just think it would be such a beautiful thing to own. So hopefully you can get a feel. And like, I would love it to just go through the seasons, like something I could use seasonally as well as like a part of the system, because I just love that. I love that there's different energies about the kind of seasons, to sort of have that up on my altar, and would be really, really helpful. Also a lovely book kind of like this, I guess. I guess this could come, oh, one of my favorite trees of all time, silver birch. You know, having a lovely guidebook, maybe like this, that really takes you through everything about the tree, you know, its sort of origins, geographically, etc., but also its more spiritual kind of meanings, what kind of medicine it can be used in. I would love that. I just think it would be so, so cool to have. And like I said, I just really want something that just aesthetically, oh, look at this mangrove, that's so beautiful, and they grow over cemeteries. There's a cemetery here, I think it's Finchley. I could be wrong, it might not be Finchley, I could be wrong. Anyway, there is a cemetery, it sounds a bit macabre and a bit off of topic, but in London, where there is this beautiful, I don't know what family owned this crypt, but on the top of it is this massive tree. It's almost like the roots are going down like this one. Beautiful. I've always wanted to be buried under a tree, sort of romantic in me. I think somewhere here in Brighton we actually have those cemeteries where they kind of put you in a pod under a tree. Have you heard of that? And you kind of go and kind of feed the tree as you die, which, not as you die, but you know, as you decompose. Might be a bit macabre and for some people, but I think that's beautiful. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, that's me totally going off topic. Yeah, basically I want a tree oracle, and Lucille Clark, if you're watching this, so I'm going to have to go down to your studio to maybe speak to you in person when I buy more artwork. Please do that for me, that would be fantastic. If anyone's interested in this book, again, it's called Around the World in 80 Trees. Yeah, basically I just want an oracle or a tarot deck to do with trees that is just more my aesthetic, I want to say. Something nice to look at, because no tea, no shade on the ones that are available. And like I said, please tell me some that I may not know. They're not my cup of tea. And I've basically, you know, the kind of decks I have to scratch this itch, I guess. I think my main one I have is the, you know, the Celtic Tree Oracle. This is more for learning as well, because obviously my roots are Celtic, majority of them. Lots of Irish here. But you know, it's a beautiful, cute little deck. You know, it is sweet, I can't deny that, and it's very interesting, like learning the sort of ogham and things of that nature. I really need to go through this deck more. As you can see, I haven't really used it much. And you know, I was going to say I don't like this artwork too much, but in all fairness, it's actually not too bad. I don't know if you can see very well. Maybe I should bring them up close to the camera. But it's a lot of that Celtic kind of artwork, which I'm not always the most fond of. It might sound sacrilege to say, but it's not the most, you know, the artwork I am the most fond of, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I just feel like I want something a bit bigger than this, like a bit like, you know, you can really have that card on display, etc. And kind of, let's go through some of these because they are quite pretty. Really kind of go for it. You know, you've got the birch there, rowan. I do like that this deck has the kind of, almost I think like the bark pattern of the tree on there. That's very interesting. I love all little details like that. So I don't know if I necessarily need that on the card. Like maybe I would just prefer to have just the tree, etc., but just have a really good guidebook with it. That would be cool, because I do like, you know, it's something I learned as a child, and I do like that when you're doing sort of forest trails, and my dad teaching me what kind of seeds and what kind of leaves come from which tree, like, you know, like match up kind of games. So I like all of those elements, but I feel like they would be really cool to have within the I've just noticed that they have the stave symbols here as well. That's actually quite cool. Okay, I need to really work with this deck a bit more before I kind of shut it down. It's actually quite cool. But yeah, this is what I have so far. What else do I have that kind of scratches that itch? Let's see. Let's move you to one side. Okay, a bit more of like what I would want to see. If we go to this deck, which I'm sure is called the Botanica Deck, I have to double check that. Yep, the Botanica Deck. Look, sorry, but this is honestly probably one of the most gorgeous decks I own, in all fairness. If I could open the box, that would be great. Come on, guys, work with me, work with me. Just look at how beautiful this tarot deck is. This is what I mean, aesthetically. This is what I would want to see in some way, shape or form, more so from my tree oracle offerings. You know, something that really showcases the element. Obviously this is plants, you know, more so than trees, but you know what I mean, it's so striking, this artwork. Please just give me a tree oracle like this, please, or a tree tarot. I'd be so happy. It's a chunky deck, this has to be said. But yeah, so something just a little bit more artsy, I think, a little bit more, although like I did show you Lucille Clark, obviously that is quite more traditional. You know, I wouldn't mind one that's a bit artsy like this as well, actually. The sort of very strong kind of backgrounds with those seasonal elements. A great guidebook. Be fantastic, don't you think? I think there's some like indie decks that might that I've kind of seen on Etsy that sort of scratch that itch. I think there's like a tree wisdom oracle by, I'm sure she's an English designer. She has a few different ones like plant wisdom and things like that, and that seem interesting because it's sort of like more close-ups of like the tree, and that could be quite cool. But yeah, I would love my Lucille Clark one, definitely, as well. So I think that's enough of me showcasing that. Basically, I want a tree oracle. So whoever's watching this that can make that happen for me, please do. I'll be forever in your debt. I think this channel will love you for it. We need it. Oh, I'd also like an oracle kind of deck that's the shape of leaves. I've kind of toyed with the idea of making one myself, like a messages kind of deck almost, you know, when you're trying to do channeled messages or like affirmations. I'm not quite sure how a leaf shaped deck would shuffle, but I feel like it would be cool aesthetically anyway. In the practical sense, maybe not so much, but you know, here we are, just making dreams come true, hopefully. Just pulling from the ether, just putting that kind of dream energy out there, seeing if it can materialize. So yeah, that is the tree oracle wish I have. Let's see what can be done about that, guys. In terms of a tarot deck as well that kind of embodies sort of like the vibe I would want from a tree tarot is my Witch's Wisdom Tarot. I do like this artwork. I like Danielle Burlow's like artwork. I like the feel of it, and as you'll see, this obviously does have a lot of trees and plant life involved within this deck that I like, and I like the colours. So that would be really cool if it could just be incorporated. Look at that. Definitely you can see how it could be done specifically with like trees in mind. So that is another one that sort of scratches that itch a little bit for me, especially with all the woodland and sort of plant life, etc. I do like that. There are a lot of trees present within this deck. So yeah, that's another one. if you can get the vibe. I like the artwork. So yeah. So last, but by no means least, the category of decks I wish existed that, you know, I like to bring to, you know, manifest into the world. Just a disclaimer here, this is a bit of an 18+ one, and if talking about sexual tarots or erotic tarots makes you uncomfortable, and maybe seeing images along that line makes you uncomfortable within a deck, then this might be the time for you to click off. Just a little disclaimer there. But yeah, the last category of decks I wish existed is, you know, a good tarot, you know, that sort of displays the erotic or sort of sexuality, sensuality, things of that nature. I feel like, you know, I had a few conversations with people within this community about this, and it seems like it's just such, you know, there's such a market for it. It's kind of a bit unbelievable that a good one, in my opinion, doesn't exist yet, you know. There's so many tarot readers that exclusively do relationship readings, etc. I know a lot of people do this for themselves, but also, you know, I mean, as in they do relationship readings themselves, but also, you know, to have a deck for that, just to do some self-exploration, I feel could prove invaluable for a lot of people. You know, it could be very healing, I think, you know, to look at that, to be able to confront these things in ourselves, you know. I think it would be such a cool thing to have. And like I said, the mind boggles why it doesn't exist, like, because I would definitely think there's a market for it there. I've seen enough people say the same thing. And so what would I like? Within the tarot deck, I would like lots of, you know, representation. People who identify in different ways, you know, different sexualities, you know, different abilities, different, you know, ethnicities. We need that variation. That is a distinct lack in any kind of decks we have on the market in that regard right now. I believe, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen anything that sort of kind of stands testament to that. All too much within tarot in general, but specifically not within the kind of sexual kind of or sensual or erotic tarot market. They're very very white, very heterosexual, very just, yeah, just quite boring and bland in many ways, I would like to say. So yeah, I would really like that first and foremost to be kind of considered when creating a deck for that sort of thing. I would also very much like someone to write an amazing guidebook to go alongside it that really just explores, you know, if someone, I know there's someone out there, or maybe I have to undertake this at some point, but I feel like there's someone that could definitely fit that into the tarot system. Not fit it, you know, I don't like make something fit, but as in like there's space for it, you know, to create, you know, and look at the meanings of the cards within, you know, from that perspective. We already have sort of relationship meanings for the cards. It'd be really interesting to dive deeper and see like what it could mean in terms of our, you know, sexuality, sensuality, things of that nature. Really marry that to the cards within the tarot system. I think that would be so helpful and so cool. So I'd love that. I'd love a book that did that. I'm actually looking forward to a deck that I've backed recently on Indiegogo called the Sex Positive Tarot, which seems really intriguing. Some of you might want to like check it out. I'll try and like superimpose some images of it here. But from what I've seen so far, it seems promising. It's interesting. I feel like they may slightly be creating their own system. So, you know, I'm okay with that, you know, as long as the book definitely, you know, can guide me and give me the information I need. I'm good with that, because I would love that as a tool for, you know, kind of just my own self-exploration, working through past traumas, etc. Getting more in connection with myself, the divine feminine, you know, letting go of aspects of shame, kind of healing that. Definitely could be used within shadow work too. And I just think it's like going to be such a cool thing to have honestly. In terms of decks that scratch that itch, kind of, you know, we are a little bit kind of few and far between within that realm, as I'm sure a lot of you know. I have the very basic Tarot of the Sexual Magic. Let's see if we're in frame here. So this deck, you know, you would have seen it. Again, disclaimer, there's nudity here, kind of images of a sexual nature, so if that kind of bothers you, it's best for you not to watch this, I would say. But like I said, this deck is seen on so many kind of tarot readers on here, because I guess it's one of the only that's sort of available to them. I think you have the Myriad deck's another one. I feel like another erotic deck came out recently, or is getting backed, or was back recently for like its second run. I can't remember what it's called, something erotic tarot. This didn't speak to me completely, because I felt like some of the card interpretations were a bit lazy, but some of them were cool. But yeah, overall it just didn't kind of speak to me. But yeah, this deck, it does denote certain energy sometimes, but I do wish it came with a book that kind of would explain the meanings a bit more. It just comes with a very tiny kind of little book, and as you can see, they're very like almost like porn star looking kind of people, very white, very like, the men are very overly macho, the women are very like Barbie doll like, kind of curvaceous, like yeah, like I said, very kind of heterosexual as well. Some of the cards are sweet, as you see here, but I don't really understand the meanings of some of the images. Like, I feel like when you use this deck, you kind of just got to look at the images and not really look at the tarot behind it, and that sort of seems like a bit of a waste to me. I feel like you can definitely marry the tarot within this sort of realm. There's also, like, to be honest, especially this red-haired lady that keeps appearing. I don't know if this was the artist's muse or something, but it's the same face, and it creeps me out. It's like the same kind of, I don't know if you can see her face, but it's the same woman's face sort of superimposed in all the different female figures within this deck, and even some of the men, and I don't like that. So it puts me off using it, because I just don't like the figures like in this deck, I'll be honest with you. Some of the moments captured are really cool, like especially more of the tender ones, and also some of them do make you think the ones that are a little bit more aggressive. God, this death card is crazy though, right? And then they just throw in something like this and you're like, what the is going on, you know? So yeah, I think I'll leave it at that with all the nudity. But yeah, this is what we have so far, and to be honest guys, it's not enough. Like, it's not good enough for what you could be using a deck of this nature for, in my opinion. Yeah, I just feel like there's such a gap in the market, and it's a shame. It really is a shame, but I'm really hoping it is going to be filled soon. I'm like I said, watch this space with that sex positive tarot when it arrives. I think it may be coming like in March, so not too long to wait. I'll definitely try and do a video on it for you guys, to just give you a little walkthrough of it, or maybe tell you how I've been finding working with it. But so that's one tarot I have that scratches this itch, but not very well, I have to be honest, not very well. The second one, I have to say, is the Lubanko Tarot. Now, this isn't an explicitly you know, erotic deck, you know, that's not what it's kind of sold as, but it does have those erotic elements, and I think it does it well in the cards, that it does have that kind of speak to that, especially when kind of using it as a deck to sort of maybe do some healing or shadow work in those regards. And if I can try and get some of those cards for you. Again, we've got this Eight of Swords, quite an erotic kind of vibe to it. The Devil card in here, obviously a card that is already kind of linked to that, definitely has that vibe too. God, we're gonna have to really, it's like they're all hiding now, don't be shy. Here we go, here she is, you know, speaks to that, definitely that kind of energy, that erotic kind of energy. You have the Lovers card in here, does the same, rubs people up the wrong way a lot of the time, but definitely sort of looks at those elements. Again, the Strength card again kind of plays into that, sort of those roles of dominance, vulnerability, etc. And I think that's so interesting. So I feel like if anyone is looking to create a deck like this, look at the cards within this deck, guys. Look at me speaking to a potential creator. But yeah, I feel like even this, all the cards that have them sort of pinky undertones in this deck remind me of the erotic here. Here we go, everyone's favourite lovers card. Yeah, this is one that I see. Some of the cards are really cool. Like I could see how you can make a whole deck with this kind of vibe, and it would be very helpful, I think. So yeah, that's the Lubanko. I don't know if we're gonna find any more quite like that, but yes, if you got my drift there, that's sort of something I would like to see, like a bit more like this in the way it kind of deals with some of those elements. And they've done it within the tarot, so it's doable, guys, it's doable. So yeah, I think as well within this realm, I would like, outside of a tarot deck, I feel like I would like, bear with me when I want to see whether I can kind of explain this properly. I was thinking, like, could you have an oracle deck? Yes, definitely. I think something that could help you explore those sort of kind of elements. I don't know if there are any erotic oracle decks. Let me know, because I don't think I've even looked for one, to be fair, but I don't know if they exist. But I guess that could be interesting as well. But I always also thought like an archetype deck. Bear with me, let's see if I can get this thing across. This is some weird kind of self sort of exploration I was doing recently when I was looking at kind of the archetypes and kind of characters that people pick up like within that sort of element of themselves, the sort of sensual or sexual elements of themselves within their kind of relationships. Obviously, like I said, you have that, you know, everyone knows you have dominant, submissives, you know, and all the things in between. But I feel like an archetype kind of based deck on that would be very interesting for some self-exploration and yeah, seeing, I don't know, I'm sure someone has done some psychoanalysis on that, maybe Jung himself, but kind of a deck that sort of marries that like exploration of maybe why we're in those sort of roles, those kind of, yeah, I guess the archetype, like roles almost. What is it about that makes us feel safe, or you know, is enjoyable for us? Like, I guess it could almost be like a kind of sex therapy deck in a way, I guess. But I always found that quite fascinating. So yeah, an archetype deck or a deck based on the roles like played, that would be really interesting, or somehow incorporating that into an oracle, that would be interesting, because I feel like it could be a good kind of deck for self-exploration, healing, almost like have a therapeutic kind of element to it. And obviously, you know, I feel like sometimes that's something, you know, sex and things of that nature are something that some people, or a lot of people actually, find quite hard to discuss like openly, even if they were in sort of quite a private and sort of sacred space, and not sacred space, but you know, if they were kind of with a therapist, for example, or in a kind of accepting kind of group that was like helping them with things of that nature, and who they felt comfortable discussing that with. In general, I don't think people are too open. Like, maybe they're getting more so now, but in general, I feel it's still something that people attach a lot of shame to or don't want to speak about openly. Maybe not because they're embarrassed themselves, but they're worried about maybe embarrassing another person, etc. So having a tool for that sort of exploration that people can use by themselves in private, I think could be very, very helpful, especially if it had a sort of therapeutic, potentially psychoanalysis kind of vibe to it, or like even just like that spiritual kind of vibe to it would be cool, you know, that sort of maybe like a divine feminine deck and a divine masculine. Oh yeah, god, these things I'm just literally coming up with ideas on the spot here now. But yeah, I feel like that would be very interesting, you know, something in the school of like tantric kind of sex and things like that, the way that it's about intimacy, connection, basically getting rid of that shame element. That would be interesting. But also giving people the opportunity to explore those sides of themselves and sort of connect and also understand them a bit better. Yeah, I might have to get a bit more solid on that idea, but if any of you actually grasp anything I just said there, you know, well done. All the flowers to you. Please make that deck for me. But yeah, oh, maybe like a really good sex therapist should make that deck and write a book alongside it. That would be cool. I'll be down for that. I don't know any off the top of my head, but yeah, no, that'd be interesting. I just think it could help a lot of people if they were able to kind of do that work in kind of private as well. Just at least start on their own journeys with it if they don't feel like they can go and talk to another about it, don't feel comfortable talking in therapy about it, or to another kind of mentor or someone or a friend. So yeah, that's my end of my kind of wishes out there. You know, we've blown the last wish off the dandelion. Let it float into the skies and hope that someone picks it up and here's our wishes, eh? So guys, there we have it. The decks I wish existed. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if any of them kind of ring true for you too. Let's see what we can do to make these dreams come to pass. Once again, I just want to thank the May Queen for creating this tag. It was a really cool one to kind of get my teeth into and kind of wrap my brain for things I really would like to see on the market. And I also, you know, I forgot in the intro to mention this. I just really wanted to say today that the Treehouse hit, well, at time of filming, the Treehouse hit 111 subscribers. So we're over the 100 mark, and that's such a cool number, guys. 111, those angel numbers. Let's make this happen. And the Treehouse might need to be expanded now to make sure that we're all in health and safety regs, you know, especially with the storms we're having in Europe at the moment. It's been a bit crazy. A few trees have fallen down on my road, but I digress. Thank you so much for all the new subs and everything, all the support that's been shown on this channel in such a short space of time. It's such a beautiful community to be a part of, very encouraging, very nice light energy, and I've been really enjoying my time here so far. So thank you for everyone else that's jumped on board, and I look forward to just the Treehouse and the community growing. So thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.